This time's kind of going to be like a diary entry, I guess, so for this vlog. I hope you're doing well. I've been having a lot of trouble with the nightmares, recurring nightmares, including, my father. And so that's been causing me a bit of lack of sleep, a little bit frustrating, but it's part of it. And I go through different times when it isn't an issue, but it is at the moment. But I've been trying to journal and work through that. I think when it comes down to it, it still comes back to that sense of not having justice and not being heard. Because, like I said before, raised as a Christian, and even though we kind of talked about it at home, or it was basically swept under the carpet, but I was told, I believed I just had to forgive and move on, and I kept doing that. And I know it gets confusing for family members for things like that, because they saw me all these years just say, oh, that's right, I've forgiven. Or most of the people didn't know anyway, but I've forgiven and I've moved on, don't worry about it, But as time went on and I started to really realise the impact, and then actually talk about it more and talk about it with my family more and see their reactions. The reactions of that I did not expect. I was expecting reactions of support and love, especially since we're all Christians. But that didn't happen. There was a little bit, but basically it was just get over it. He had a terrible upbringing. That's, you can't blame him. And so you just need to forgive and move on. To forgive someone, generally there's a bit of a process. Like, say, if someone murdered your best friend and you go through, there's usually police involved and a trial, and a lot of people saying, oh, that's horrible, that's terrible, we're here for you, etc., etc. And you get that support, and you go and you grieve, and people expect you to grieve, and they understand. The problem with something like this, particularly when it's abuse from a family member, you don't get that. You don't get that understanding. You don't get that because it's a family member. They want it to be just forgotten and move on. They don't want it to mess up the balance of the family. So the individual doesn't get that support. They don't get that, oh, that's terrible, what a horrible thing to happen, They don't get the, right, okay, we've got to get some justice done here, and it's not okay, and that person needs to learn too, what they've done wrong and do something about it. So you don't get any of that generally when you're come out as a survivor from a family member. And people don't understand, but it's the same pain as if a stranger had abused you as a child. You're highly likely to get support from that, but when it's a family member, it's different. You don't get that. You don't get your voice heard. You don't get supported. Very rarely, anyway. You might be lucky, like I've managed to get about one cousin who's fantastic, and maybe a couple cousins and an aunt, but generally, there's really only one cousin that really still stands by me now. And it breaks your heart, especially when you've got to cut your family off, because it's more destructive to be around them, because they're not supporting you, they're bringing you down, they're blaming you for something you didn't do. It's very hard for the healing to happen. So for me, I got so angry about it all, I even tried taking my father to court. and just the going through that process is hell. Giving a statement to the police, you have to go over everything that happened. And I mean, you know, it happened years ago, and I have to try and remember everything as best I can. And some things they won't, they can't really do much about. Other things they definitely could have charged him for, blah, blah, blah. But then, because it's family again, what happened is the siblings both said something happened when they were interviewed by the police, but refused to make a statement. And that was it. That was the end of it. And my father just made no comment. And that was it. I got no justice. And even the police in the end said to me, we're convinced that your father's guilty, but there's nothing we can do about it. And now you've just got to move on and get over it. So once again, no justice, no support. And I know I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people that go through this. So if you find someone, or you yourself have gone through this, still try not to give up. I know it's hard. Get your voice out there. That's why I do these vlogs. So many people just don't understand, even within my own relatives or my own family. They just think I should just get over it and move on. They don't understand the impact it's had on my life. Like I said, I'm having nightmares every night, messes up my sleep, got post-traumatic stress disorder, or complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So yesterday I spent the day feeling totally out of it, disassociating, because I was partly out of my body. I was triggered by something and I didn't know why. And I just read an article, and I'll try and link it below, which I've known anyway, but it was good to read a backup, how having all this adrenaline running through your body all the time, it's so exhausting, and you're so tired. You know, you get these triggers and you've got to work through them again. It's like going back there, and your body does anyway. Your body goes back there, and then somehow you've got to, you know, ground yourself, calm down, and the next day you're absolutely exhausted. And this is a constant process, and people don't see it. They don't understand it because it's an invisible thing within you. All I can say is keep fighting. I know I always say that, don't I? Talk to others about it. If you've got any hints or ideas, suggestions for me, please put them up. I'll be grateful to read them. And once again, you're 100% innocent. It's the perpetrator who is 100% guilty. And it's the perpetrator who should be paying the price. But what happens is the survivors end up paying a lifetime sentence for what the perpetrator did. But I'm not giving up. I'll never give up. So, lots of love. Love and light, Willow.